This is the Fence Man here with Top Rope TV. I'm here with the Freebird, Jonny Rose. How you doing, Jonny?
I'm all good at it.
It's cool, man. Now, just wondering, it was an exciting time. We had to have Lacey James, who beat the Soul Killer, to become the second ever AWA Top Rope Wrestling Light Heavyweight Champion. What was that like when that happened?
Oh, it was great. I mean, Lady Jane's been with us for about a year now. Originally in quite a strong ladies division, but she dropped her ladies championship to focus on light heavyweight wrestling. You know, she wanted to be seen as an equal with the the fellas, and she's done a real good job of that, and that proved it really when she beat Solka for the championship.
Okay. Now, could you give us some background about yourself? How long were you in the wrestling business for?
21 years this year. Started in 1998.
Okay. Now, what are some of the highlights of your career that you've had?
I've had 5 really cool trips to America, tours. So I've done one around Philadelphia and Pennsylvania in general, and 4 in Kentucky and the southern states. Wrestled my heroes, the people I grew up watching as a child, on British wrestling television. One of them was recently, really, like almost 32 years after I saw him as a kid live. I wrestled him, a guy called Scrubber Daly. So, to have that opportunity was real cool. 10 years ago, I wrestled a guy called Danny Collins, who was the very first wrestler I saw live when I was 8 years old. So I got to wrestle him 10 years ago. So again, that's another sort of, one off the bucket list. Got to meet some nice people, got to meet a few horrible people as well, but, I've been to places that I would never have been, up and down the country without wrestling. Got to meet some great friends. Love it. Nothing else I'd rather do.
Okay. Now, what was that like, wrestling in Philadelphia? Because I know Philadelphia's always been a big wrestling city with ECW and all. So, what was your thoughts on that?
That was my first trip. I went in 2002 to Pennsylvania. And it's kind of a big guy territory, or it was then at least. I think I was a little bit out of my depth then because I was too green. I wish I could go back now knowing a little more. There were some big guys on there. It was like, I think there was a guy called Paul Atlas. He was a big guy. Zubov, I think his name was. Like a Russian kind of guy. Jim Duggan was on it. They were all big men. And I was a little bit too green, a little bit too small and inexperienced in general to appreciate it as much as I could have now if I go back, you know what I mean? But everybody was really friendly and nice and, we were treated well, but I don't think I knew enough at the time to really warrant going. I was just lucky to be able to.
Okay. Now, who were some of your heroes growing up that you looked up to when you were growing up as a kid?
My first hero was a British wrestler called Big Daddy. Who was he was like, 350-pound fat guy that kind of just held the crowd in his hand. He wasn't a great wrestler, he was just really charismatic and always in tag matches with a smaller tag partner against 2 ugly things, and everything he did, no matter how bad it was, the crowd loved. And it was kind of him that got me hooked on wrestling. And like I said earlier, when I wrestled with Grubber Daly earlier this year, the first ever time I saw live wrestling when I was 8 years old, 1987. The main event was Big Daddy and Andy Blair, a Scottish wrestler, who I later trained with, against Scrub Daly and Lucky Gordon. So, I've now had a chance to almost emulate Big Daddy in his wrestling style. I trained with Andy Blair, who was Big Daddy's tag partner that night, and wrestled Scrubber Daly, so that was pretty cool. American heroes, Hogan was my obviously hero. I think everybody that watched American wrestling loved Hulk Hogan for that era. I love George South. I love Ricky Morton. I like the NWA sort of Southern boys. I like those. Tracy Smothers. I spent a lot of time with Tracy Smothers when he came over on his UK tours. He stayed with us quite a few times, and I learned a lot from him. So as far as the American wrestlers go, there's a lot of those sort of Southern, sort of the NWA kind of names I really liked.
Okay. What was it like working with Tracy Smothers? Do you have any interesting stories to tell about being on the road with him?
Oh, Tracy was nuts, and I'm sure he'll admit that himself. Never a dull moment when Tracy's about. He's got some real quirky ways. Puts his wrestling trunks on wet because it keeps him cooler. Sleeps with his legs in the air. Broke literally everything in my house. I love him. We spent a lot of time travelling. We went to Wales quite a lot. Quite a few shows in Wales at the time. Wrestled him a lot. Learned how to work rather than wrestling. He knew how to get emotion from crowds from doing very little. And I think that's a lost art really nowadays. And he taught me a lot. Simply being in a car with him and having a chance to ask him questions was an education. So just being around him, you just soak up the information. And the first time he called me, he was coming to Wales on a tour, and I legit didn't think it was Tracy Smothers on the phone, because I told the promoter in Wales I was a big Tracy Smothers fan, and he's like, yeah, he's coming over to wrestle for us, etc. And the phone rings and it's Tracy Smothers, and he's like, oh, I'm Tracy Smothers, just wondering if we're to stay at your house. And Carl says you're a big fan, etc. And I legit didn't think it was him. I thought it was somebody ribbing me, pretending it was him, but I hung up the phone, and then not long after he phoned back again, and I was like, the number came up on the phone, and it was an American number, so it must have been. And we've got quite a friendship.
Okay, now, did you ever have any experiences working with the Blue Meanie at all?
No, I only met the Blue Meanie through Tracy on a show that I worked. There was a promotion called 1BW, and I worked as security for those. And Tracy got me in there because he was a regular for the promotion. I only really met Blue Meanie briefly. I mean, there's quite a few big names there: AJ Styles and Chris Daniels, Gold Dust, Blue Meanie, even Dude Guerrero, I think was there at the time as well. Some big names were on that show. Several 1BW shows actually. They went real well. Carino, he was there too.
Okay. All right. Now, what's your favorite era or time period in pro wrestling history?
For me, I think sort of the 88, 89 kind of time, when like the biggest feud at 6A in my head, it's always gonna, something I still watch today and I love, was Hulk Hogan and Macho Man thing. It was built so well for so long. Right from the previous, from WrestleMania 4, whatever that was, April of '88, right to the whole year was spent sort of building those two wrestling each other. They were friends. They fell out the thing with Elizabeth when Savage got thrown out of the ring, and Hogan was looking after her, and it was just brilliant time. I loved it, brilliant.
Okay. Now, what's some advice that you would give to someone that wants to become a pro wrestler and training to become a pro wrestler?
Make sure the person that's training you has actually done more than they say they have. There's so many places to train now. I think it's very easy for someone to, open a school and say they could teach people, but if they're teaching people and they don't really know themselves, it makes it very difficult. Just do your homework on where they've been and what they've done. See whether they can take you places as well. Do they still go places? They still work. They have connections. Just be very choosy on who you pick to. And the other thing I'd say is don't necessarily believe what you're told. Always find out for yourself. Because a lot of people say, don't speak to this guy, don't listen to this fella, don't believe this guy. when I think you should actually find out for yourself, and only because there's so much hearsay, find out for yourself.
Okay. Now, what's it like wrestling over in the UK and overseas as opposed to over in the United States? Like, how does the indie scene differ from over there as opposed to over here?
Here it's quite territorial. It's still, like in America used to be with the specific territories. It's quite like that now. Every region seems to have a little, promotion that sticks to their region. There are a few touring promotions. All-Star go all over the country. There's a group in London go all over the country. But, I think on the whole, it's sort of small territories. So you get the established boys that go all over the country, and then you get the more localised ones. And I think it's very regional in style as well. Like around this area where I am, I'm in Worcestershire, sort of the White Forest area, and it's very sort of old school kind of, traditional style. Whereas more up north, it's a little hard hitting, sort of flippy, kind of more modern. Yet down south, the West Country way, I feel like they're wrestling a little bit more. So, around out here it's more pantomime, up north it's more hard hitting, and the West Country is more wrestling. So it's very, each area seems to be different. Which, if you don't know what you're doing going into these areas, makes it quite difficult. But you have to kind of adapt as you go around.
Okay. Now, what are your thoughts on like things with WWE and AEW? Because I know like the wrestling scene is booming right now. It's a great time to be a fan. Like you got AEW, you got WWE. What are your thoughts on both AEW and WWE right now?
Oh yeah, I was saying this the other day. If you're a massive sort of wrestling fan, hardcore wrestling fan, I don't mean hardcore like eating each other with chips. I mean hardcore like the amount of wrestling that you watch. There's not enough time in the day to watch everything, is there? There's like a 3-hour Raw and a 2-hour SmackDown and a 400 other shows a week. So I wish I could be a kid now, having the access to wrestling. Because when I was a kid, there was, the 40 minutes of British wrestling we had, and then if you had cable, which very few of us did back then, you might have had an hour of American wrestling. That was it, pretty much, I wish I was a kid now with as much passion as I had for wrestling then, Up the new NWA show, real big fan of that. AEW, I watch little bits and bobs. We have that on ITV Wrestling as well, on ITV TV, so that on British TV. I watch bits and bobs. Same as the WWE, I don't watch as much as it's not because I'm against watching it, it's just I don't have the time of the day, whereas the NWA show is just an hour, so it's just enough to get in without, interrupting too much of your day kind of thing. So it's a great time to do it. The AEW thing's not my style, but I admire everything they do. Good luck to them. They're obviously earning well. They're getting the crowds in, and it's good for wrestling in general, no matter what style. As long as they're drawing people in, it's going to help everybody in the long run, because we'll get people to come and see our wrestling because they've seen their wrestling, if you know what I mean. But for me right now, I think the best show on is the NWA one, because it's just long enough. It's a traditional style. I like the studio thing, and I love that.
Okay. Now, is there anything new going on with the AWA you'd like to talk about? Like, as I know, like you've been kind enough to provide us with footage and all, like for us to share on Top Rope TV. Now, would you like to talk about anything like what's going on in AWA as of late?
Oh yeah, there's always something going on here. We've got books. We've got two main venues. We've got several sort of in between venues as well. But we have two main venues, and we're booked in there for next year and the year after already. So that's real cool. One of them is monthly, every month, and the other is every 3 months, as well as the little spot shows in between. We have very much like the WF did years ago. We have a like a Royal Rumble in January, which we call Rumble Mania. We have a like a Survivor series that we call Survivor Catch in November. That is in December this year, actually. We've got 2 tournaments that we have mid-year. So we for the last sort of 21 years, we've tried to do the same, kind of routine. We have like a King of the Ring kind of thing, and what we call our Grand Prix tournament. Exactly the same will be happening next year, our 22nd year. Really proud to be affiliated with some good people. We used to be called HCW, but we changed it to Affiliated Wrestling Alliance, because we are affiliated with, some good people like, top people. We're affiliated with the Global Wrestling Federation, which kind of restarted from its glory days in the 90s out of Texas. AIWF, who we ran a show with, like a 2-day thing. We had the Friday and they had the Saturday. A little bit earlier on in the month, so that was really cool to be part of that. That's going to be on a DVD. A couple of matches from English one, a couple of matches from the American one, so that's real cool. And World Fighting Showcase, where we hold the British Championship of theirs, which we run under traditional British rules, which is under with rounds, like 6 3-minute rounds, and best 2 out of 3 falls. So we represent, several other promotions within ours and have championship from each of theirs, which is pretty cool. So, I'm all for, bringing people together, and I think, there's so much bitterness in wrestling and so much, trying to outdo each other that there's no need for it. You can get on with the right people, and I think Affiliated Wrestling Alliance do it by, finding the good ones and affiliating those.
Okay. Yeah, is there anything else you'd like to plug or add at all, or like where can the fans look you up so that they could watch and check out some of your shows and all?
Oh yeah, but YouTube is AWA Affiliated Wrestling. The Facebook page is AWA Affiliated Wrestling Alliance, and then it's like brackets, formerly HCW. Look us up, we're not hard to find. We're always out most weekends. The next one, we're off this weekend actually, and then the next one, there's 2 shows in the same day, one up north for our friends at DN Wrestling. I think that's the 9th of November. DN Wrestling, some of the AWA boys are on that one at DN Wrestling in Worksop, and then some of our friends are at Ring Wrestling Stars. Some of the AWA boys are there, where the nephews of Dynamite Kid are on, the Billington Bulldogs. They're good guys. They're AWA Tag Team Champions at one point. So they're on the one in Radstock. So there's 2 shows the same day. The week after that, there's shows on the Friday and Saturday. The Friday is in King Swinford, the Saturday in Kidderminster. Our next one's on Friday night, which we have here, 5th. Remember the 5th of November. I think that was the day the Houses of Parliament was burnt down or something in London. So we celebrate that, the fireworks night and all that kind of thing. We're doing a show in a school in Kidderminster. It's going to be cold. It's going to be about -2 at the minute, so it's going to be cold wrestling outside, but we'll get by.
Okay, yeah, that sounds pretty interesting. Like, be kind of to have a weather to have a wrestling match in the cold weather like that. So yeah, that shows a lot of dedication right there. Now, anyways,
a friend of mine got a light which apparently blows off loads of heat, so he's got to bring that.
Okay.
So we're just got to hope for the best.
Yeah, that sounds pretty interesting. And then, is there anywhere that'll be up on YouTube so the fans over here could check it out then, or?
Oh yeah. That's our guy Lee Stockman, who does the filming for us. He's coming and he'll be filming that.
Okay.
If he's holding the camera, it might be a bit shaky if he's freezing, but see how it goes.
Yeah, I got you. I know what it's like being a cameraman and trying to hold the camera when it's cold out, and that's always interesting because my hands are cold. I'm trying to hold the camera and all, so do the best
yeah,
you can.
Ali does a good job. Good on him. He's a great guy, Lee is.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. And it's all about the fun and the love of wrestling. That's what it's about, and like bringing the love of
That's
wrestling
it.
to everybody.
There's not a lot of other benefits, so you've got to love it to do it, haven't you? And I think I'm really lucky to have a great team around me that, over the years we've had to pluck out the bad and, get a good team, and they're nice people. It's a social outing, as much as it is a wrestling outing, It's they're friends, they're family.
Mm-hmm. It's a good way to look at it. And anyway, I guess that's about all I have. If there's anything else you want to add, you good or?
I'm good, thank you. I've really enjoyed it. Thanks for calling.
Yeah, thank you, and thanks for being on Top Rope TV. This is Alan Fencermaker signing off. Keep your wrestling in a headlock. We'll catch you next time on Top Rope TV. Peace.